Welcome, Dr. James Beckett, Sports Card Insights. Thanks, sponsors, Beckett Media, Beckett Grading, Beckett Authentication, ComC.com, Burbank Sports Cards, Mike Stadium Sports Cards, Heritage Auctions, Hugs and Scott Auctions, Topps, Panini, and Upper Deck. Non-physical sports collectibles is 1 or 2% of the total market. I think it's 1%. I think in 5 years, it's going to be more. But it is so awesome to be able to sell air. Cost of goods sold, it can be very profitable when the margins are nice. The margins are nice.
You don't have to worry about the printer.
There'll be a movement in that direction.
there.
But it even get to 10%. Knowing the nature of collectors, is the over under 5%.
I think the real person to ask is the Spinatron.
I wonder if anybody in this room is, no offense, young enough to understand it. Because I'm 50. How old are you?
49.
49. So we're the same age. But it's your job. So I would support it if it was my job. But I don't understand not having it in my hand. I have problems with video games that don't come on a disc.
You are getting left behind.
I know.
I'm also born in 77, so I'm the same. But, but I had a web development company and worked around technology. So I can see there is some form of this that works out. I just don't know exactly what it is. We can't be 100%. There's something else that has to happen.
What's the draw? Potential financial gain, or is it an enjoyment? Because that's the thing I don't understand.
Saves a lot of money on shipping at this point.
Yeah. Well, we got no shipping, no paper, no glue.
Yeah. Talking about for the collect.
And here's the thing I don't like.
But
these young ones under 25 live on the internet.
If you hit a one-of-one blockchain digital card and you throw a picture of it, hey, I'm really happy I got this card, right? Save.
No, not these.
Save as. What's the difference? You have a picture of it. I know it's on your blockchain, but it is financial. I get the financial.
But yeah, that's what physical stuff like chocolate chip cookies.
I'd rather have an air clip.
I'm sure you will. You're not
so would my baseline, but
you'll probably live on it for having non-fungible cookies.
No. NFTs.
What is the motive behind that growth for the collector? Like I said, is it financial? Is it enjoyment?
Potential arbitrage. Because the barrier of entry is so low. Financially.
Sure. And I have no interest in that.
I think there'll be a ratio of like digital is half of what it would be if it was physical. Proportionality in some sense.
Yeah, but I don't think it'll be half. At some point, 1/20th, 1/10th, somewhere in that nature. But half, no. I mean, because cards, tangibles, let's say there's a card that goes for $1 million. I could see the NFT going 20, 30 grand. To me, that seems high. But I still understand there's a correlation to that.
But directionally, it's definitely going to grow as a percent.
Yeah.
No, that I agree. I think
he has Bitcoin, so he understands.
It's going to grow.
But you're accepting of that. It's blockchain. It's just much more efficient. I don't like it as a collector. I love the physical, but I'm an old world.
But I did bring this up to
almost everything's digital.
This is what I see, because we all remember NFTs a few years ago was the thing for 3.5 minutes. But I do think the most successful way to integrate NFTs or this topic into the reality that we all currently love is utilizing it as an umbilical to have the NFT. And that's why I asked Court this, is this on your prom night cards, you need an NFT that can be directly attached. It can
twins.
That's not fun. It can also be separated and sold individually. It's an additional value kicker.
There's no commitment to modern collectors. They're in it today, and then tomorrow they're flipping something. So
We got two things to flip though.
This gets into some of the stuff that Dr. Beckett and I talked about.
Yeah, you get the kicker for the buyer.
The first thing was when you have a physical digital pairing, there are very few people that are collecting both. One of the things we do at Panini is on a semi-regular basis, a Dutch auction setup where we make the physical card and you get the digital version of the card at the same time. What we have seen is that 1 or 2 cards that we build in that set go for high amounts of money. Like last year we did MB Logo Man that went for $140,000. That collector, Spinatron, wants to collect both.
Yeah.
He wants to have both for the future. But as we get further down the group of cards, what we would see was that as soon as the physical card was received by the buyer, that would end up on eBay right away.
Yeah.
So that to me was the proof that all this work that we were doing, I wasn't always connecting the dots. It wasn't always filling a need for somebody that wanted to have both. This is where it gets really interesting because now somebody gets the physical version. They want to collect both. What's the next step they have to do in order to have perceived value, which is what it has to go to get graded now, right? Which is the whole flip side of the NFT project.
How do you grade an NFT?
No, grade the physical version of the card, right? So now you've got to do that on top of now.
That'd be an upcharge.
Yeah. This year we did the Rookie Royalty Center in blockchain, and the green Caitlin Clark Kaboom sold for $175,000. So broke the record. NFT only product. This year it's clear on our website as well.
Corporate espionage.
It's on our website. If Jeff wants to call a deep dive, he'll be able to see everything that we did. But there's two parts of this, right? So the cool parts about collecting digitally. One, when we make cards, you know exactly which cards are made, and there's no extra cards. If you come to our website, we have WNBA Prism going out next week. Every card that we minted, they're in packs. When the packs are opened, you know the cards have been revealed. In the case of Rookie, Silver, Prism, those PSA populations change all the time. In the case of the value system, there's a finite amount of cards. That's one of the things most people really enjoy about digital collecting. The other part of it is the same problem of every other piece of this, right? The friction. If I buy a pack of cards and I rip something really awesome, I now have to make a decision. Where am I sending it to get graded? Is it good? Do I need to clean it?
Frictions. That's part of the joy of the hobby, doing this.
I wanted to collectors like friction.
Like the
Flippers.
You always tell me something this hobby's clunky, and that's also what makes it beautiful.
It is.
What about the brick and mortar? What do they think about?
That's a
Courts. We understand the concept of that. What I specialize in is different. It's physical, but how does the security functionality work? NFT by default, because it's blockchain technology built, it comes with encryption that allows for security upon manufacturing.
correct.
Even though I predominantly will probably stick in the physical realm, I do like the security nature because also I've been in crypto for 13 years. So I understand the complexity of the security that is embedded within the construct. What do you have to offer the consumer on that? The security measure, how do they know? Because how would I know? I don't own any NFTs. But let's say tomorrow I'm going to buy in and buy like 50,000 or 100 or six-figure NFT. How do I know what is legit and what isn't legit? Because that's the reason when we go to grading companies, Beckett, or
it's got to be provided by a trusted entity.
Choice of blockchain. That's actually the choice of the manufacturer of the NFT and the contract they build it on. When we say NFT, the last piece of it is a token, right? So a token can just literally be anything. I usually try to explain it to somebody as it's a block box.
Right.
And what we put inside the lockbox is the picture. And in our case, we put the picture of the card. We put the ownership ledger.
But as a consumer, how would I know that what I just bought is legit?
So that's what I'm saying. Embedded within the contract is where you actually can learn about.
How do I verify that?
Two places. One, what market you're buying is from. We have our own blockchain that we're the only place you can buy our NFTs right now is on our blockchain.
What if you go out of business, and how do I get my stuff?
Do what?
If you get acquired or things change at Panini, how will I access my cards on that blockchain? Because it's a proprietary blockchain, right?
Correct.
So what happens?
Didn't go with whatever an asset.
It's part of our code, but in most marketplaces, you have to have a verified check mark. So in OpenSea, Rarible, those kinds of things where Magic Eden, all of those places, just like you would have a verified account on Twitter or any other social media, you have to have a check mark. If you don't have that check mark, you wouldn't want to buy.
Let's say I'm buying an NFT from Rich, right?
Rich has a whole bunch of these.
Is there a way as a consumer, a newbie into the NFT market, that I can reach out to somebody and say, hey, I'm interested in buying this. How can I verify this? Because I'm new, but
it's a closed system.
Yeah. It's in our system.
Wild West. If you go into their ecosystem.
Oh, so I've gone to your ecosystem.
Correct.
So he doesn't own the actual NFT and it's on his thumb drive.
Yeah. No, not on a thumb drive.
Okay.
No,
it's not like Bitcoin.
You never would own it on your own thumb drive.
That's part of the dilemma here. Court, you're really bullish on this, but you're paid to be bullish.
Right.
But it sounds to me like you really are bullish. I think it's going to move subtly in that way over the next 5 years. This is a scary thing to say. It might only go up 200 or 300%.
So 9%.
I'm saying it might go from 1% to 3%.
Well,
that's a lot. So the ratio is the thing. Is that if cards, the $1 million card, is that a $50,000 blockchain NFT digital virtual thing?
Yeah, the $1 million card, I can sell a comp seat or an auction house. I can trade at a show. I have 1,000 marketplaces and places I can go. I'm not trapped.
You have one place you can do this one.
And I don't know that I like that.
No, tough luck.
Yeah.
The way they said,
and your audience has to be
you're the same. Like, you don't have the access to 20 million vendors.
Yeah.
Whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Whoever's only a hobbyist.
Well, that's
What
good.
percentage of modern cards, let's say 2023 forward, that are in vaults right now are ever going to see the light of day physically again? When people,
So they're not physical.
10%?
what's all of them?
So they're non-physical.
Effectively, I'll say almost.
10%.
You have bragging rights without
This is
providing the proof of.
Right. So they're just pointers to some physical thing that someone. So directionally we're going. The question is, who's going to build the trust in the ecosystem to be the market maker and the owner, maybe the top, but someone's going to
Didn't
on the
Cops
market.
do that with Fanatics? Just they discontinued the program, or was it Tops and the digital cards that were stored at Tops?
Tops NFT.
No, not Tops NFT. They were physical cards that eventually, E-Tops.
They've tried these things a couple of times.
Yeah, and now Fanatics finally pulled the plug and said, "You can send your cards."
Well, E-Tops really hadn't been run for 15 years. They were involved, so that's nobody's really doing anything. So why are we holding these?
So that's Rob's point: is how long does this sit? Yes, for 15 years, for let that stuff sit. From
There's no role for Heritage in this. For Heritage as a company.
The short answer is
That's the thing.
But Golden
just
So Golden just sold one of our NFTs.
They brokered it though. There's what they sell like a ticket on their site, so if they come off a game with y'all, because they're not pricing your system.
No. But you can do a portal in their system. You can be the Coinbase for this.
This sounds like everything.
But you got to strategically make that call.
It sounds like an olive gold.
That's a great company.
Yeah, we are definitely not the tech.
Okay. Let's
Saying out
everybody in the room, you're going to be forced to invest money over the next 30 days, either in the Panini blockchain or Pokemon.
Pokemon.
Wow.
Jeff Kent.
Yeah.
Things that
Charizard for life.
didn't necessarily know about. Pokemon is pretty prime, but how does it get more popular?
The demo get more affluent.
I sent you that email about that. It's the question I get every show. I run 2 or 3 Facebook pages for Kevin putting out the show. And how many Pokemon vendors, how many sports card dealers are you going to have? And you're right. I was at a show Saturday, and I don't even know what card it was, but it was a PSA 1 from something semi-new. My buddy turned down $1,000 for it. I'm like, what are you doing? Yeah, PSA 1. PSA 1. And that it was some EX.
Didn't even have a PSA 1 of a Pokemon.
Because there's some kids playing with us. Pokemon's not going to use a steroid and get busted and be a jerk to the media.
Just remember, there's no lockout of Pokemon in 2027.
I talk to people where I work. It's not an either or world. The beauty of being a collector is learning the inclusivity, not exclusivity. People coming from sports, going to Pokemon. Simultaneously, you have people coming from Pokemon, going right into sports. Even though I work for a manufacturer, I don't look at it as direct competitor. I look at it as how can it become one bigger piece of the pie.
That's true, but there's only so much money in the market, and it's going to go in one direction or another, and you want to be in front of it if you're producing, right?
Yeah.
But there's alternatives. You go
To the air.
You buy air. And most of the Pokemon people I deal with, the TCG people, have no interest in even looking at the sports most of the time. They have money and they're dedicated to that path. The great thing about that stuff is that they are all used in gameplay, so all the cards have value.
Yes.
On a 700 card baseball set, if it's not the Hall of Fame and they're not worth anything.
The majority of people are collecting a digital card because either they think it's most profitable or most enjoyable. Tons of guys that are collectors of both. When we start talking about collecting, we're going to have to be aware we're never going to go backwards. Unless by some wild, crazy thing, EMP drops on the whole universe and knocks every electronic device out for the rest of our lives, we're never going to be less digital. So it's incumbent on every business. It's incumbent on the collecting business to find ways we can reach across those pieces and we can grow the business. I joined Panini at a time where they weren't sure what the best fit at the space. They needed us to come in and do work. Yeah. And I started working on football, but then fairly quickly we realized there was a business unit that needed help. I don't even remember a time that computer wasn't at my house. Yeah. But when I walked in, the key part of it was, like you said, like, it was less than 1% of our business.
You think Panini could pull this off? Because I've been looking forward to like top string rookie cards coming.
They are pulling it off. They are pulling it off.
Yeah.
There's a tune of tens of millions of dollars.
Jim, what's the purpose of this? Why not just have a Kindle in your corner on the lectern? Enjoy walk
9,000 time cards. If time has hit on your dilemma, that most of the people at this table enjoy the tactile sensation of handwork. You're talking about having your pack party. And by the way, I would love to be invited to that. That we want to handle a physical card, but I think you're also onto something, but it's never quite worked yet.
I'm not trying to flip you.
But I think what Cord is saying is there will be a future generation, not us at this table, but a generation that is young enough to be our kid or our grandkids that won't care about the tactile sensation of opening packs. They're going to be happy with what they see on their phone as their collection.
They don't care about the tactile sensation of hugging another person.
That's true.
They don't even want to draft cards.
So do you think the space that you're filling is investors or collectors?
Both. They have market-making capabilities built into the ecosystem. So it's kind of like what PSA is doing. Grade your card here. Oh, by the way, we've got an offer.
Right. Well,
that came with that. You've got that exact same thing going on there.
Yeah.
And it's addictive.
Are you a BlackBerry or are you an iPhone? Are you right now? What I'm saying is, are you building something that's for now, and then there's going to be something in the future that just remember the Apple Newton? How popular that was when it came out.
Yeah.
What are you building for that future? That
let's put it this way. When we started blockchain, it was 2020. For the first 4 years of that business, our secondary sales totaled about $32 million. This year, we've already passed $46 million.
It's in 5 years now. What percentage of annual customer market share on trading collectibles, digital or physical, will be?
If they can reach 100 million, that's insanely successful. To double, as some work for manufacturing space, if you don't have to print, so you don't have to ship out and get autographs, get it back and do remakes and all that other stuff. And
it's harder to educate people or customer service.
But if Panini can do 100 million,
it's all about a secondary market.
Yeah.
You're going to have
but they
secondary
get
market
points on the secondary
success.
market.
If there's a buzz, then you got something.
And I believe both Sotheby's, one of the most prestigious auction houses in the world, and Whatnot are trying to raise capital. And Whatnot is actually having an easier time raising capital than Sotheby's. Whatnot doesn't have to take possession of anything. It's a software company where Sotheby's has, just like Heritage, you have to take possession. You have a big building and a warehouse and a sharing.
I primary client has no idea what supply chain is because they work in the cloud. Their supply chain is coders.
Yeah.
When we have to move mountains to get gear or people, they don't understand because they don't work in a supply chain.
Market maker that doesn't have to do anything physical is the holy grail of any business. I think Wall Street,
their overall GMV doesn't have to be equal because margins are higher and your square footage space is lower. I know people want to talk about X manufacturer, Y manufacturer, they do 500 million, 2 billion, whatever it is. That's great to eventually evolve to, but in the infancy, like talking about 5 years.
Yeah.
And if you can hit by 2030, let's say you're 10 years in, and they can just 2x secondary market. Because if the secondary market hits 100 million, at that point, I feel like the seeds are planted, then you're just annually growing it. And he doesn't have to add an extra 50,000 square feet, a manufacturing facility to do that.
Market share is different than revenue.
No, their profit margin increases the more churning there is because they're getting a piece of every single thing.
On top of that.
Whereas Topps currently is, they sell it and it's out.
Except
this is going back to back. That's brilliant. And everybody wants to do that. Fanatics certainly wants to do that.
And a lot of it is, even if the amount of, let's call them digital widgets you produce annually didn't increase, but the secondary value went up double. Your digital widget production doesn't
get
have
a piece of that.
Even if you didn't get a piece of that.
But they are.
Right. But even if you didn't get a piece of that, as long as the secondary market is showing annual growth, that lets you know longevity is there.
That's your marketing plan.
That's the marketing plan.
It's no cost marketing. You're giving away air that then comes into something.
Yeah.
But you're not giving away anything other than stuff that's vapor.
To this
but
point,
then they're going to come back and give you real money. Yeah.
So far, I can't remember collectors come in the shop and said, "Ooh, take a look at my NFTs." However, two of our stronger selling releases in the last 2 months has been SpongeBob and Topps Chrome Disney. Yeah, there's some amount of Topps Chrome Disney people and there's some amount of SpongeBob people in there. But when those cards started selling online and people saw what they were selling for, A lot more people got hip to it. So I think the communication, the education needs to be, people just want to see somebody bought this for this and sold it for that.
Yep. That's the beauty of blockchain, right? So in any blockchain, the transparency is a digital ledger. As soon as you're looking to buy an NFT, it has that ledger already built in. So you know what it sold for last. It's all built in. And on our website, rather than trying to focus on these NFT websites to tell you what current chains are doing, we built it ourselves. So you can actually now come in, not only see what that one specific card that's for sale is, but you can see what all the other ones. So if I minted it to 179, you could see what everyone in that 179 is sold.
Cord, I think Mike hit on an interesting point, though, that those two releases he mentioned, and I was sitting with one of my store owner friends, not with Triple, but at one of Kyle's other shows. And I sat there. And I sit with him usually for an hour every show, soak up some knowledge of what's going on in the unopened and store world. I'm still learning at my advanced age. And both SpongeBob and the other product you mentioned follow the 20-year rule. You watched SpongeBob 20, 25 years ago. Now the cards came out. You go back to when you were a kid. I don't think there were SpongeBob cards 25 years ago, but it's the same principle. You watched that as a kid.
What that is, so
Goes around, comes around.
I don't know if any of y'all read of study psychology. There's a psychologist named Carl Jung.
I've heard the name.
Right.
I've heard that.
Nice about that.
Yeah, so it's called circumambulation. When you're young, you leave your infancy and start embarking upon adolescence and an apprenticeship for professionalism. As you stabilize in professionalism, you circle back into the adolescence that you once left. So I study that so I know what's invested today for tomorrow. To me, it's not really subjective. It's more a principle. It's almost limbic. So
I use the 20-year rule. It's the same principle.
It's the same principle, but you look at it and then you extrapolate that 3 generations out to another human behavior point. That way you know how to invest on things removed from your emotional construct of it. Like, I like this player, or unfortunately for those of us that are Ranger fans or Cowboy fans, not to invest in any of that stuff. And go, hey, look, I'm going to invest in this because of this and that. That's really the underlying principle for why people do what they do. But we all just identify it with something different. I'm a Yankees fan or I'm a Pokemon fan. Yeah, but what's the underlying principle of why you act that way?
So buy Beanie Babies.
No, or parachute pants. I have a warehouse full of parachute pants. I'm actually interested in how a boss, because I know it's going to. Sure. In the world I live in every day, even on the phone, it doesn't ever come up. It doesn't come up through my feeds. It doesn't come up on my TikToks. It doesn't come up on my Instagram. I don't see it in any of the marketplaces. So how do you get visibility to the rest of the collecting world to bring them into this?
But how does it evolve? Well,
But there's
Growing.
There's two approaches. One is to tell your story to everybody, and the other is to be stealth. It's the best kept secret.
Until everybody knows about it.
Until everybody knows about it and realizes that nobody wanted to tell you about it because it was too good of a deal.
Yeah.
That's what makes me wonder if I need to
for a thing.
go get some right now. But I don't have any. So do I need
You're
to?
thinking, am I missing out? Why aren't they telling me about this?
Sorry about this, but you lose the NBA license and you lose an NFL license. So now this world becomes very small and it doesn't keep growing. In my mind, to really win this, one is exclusivity.
Yeah.
Haven't heard about it, get in there. The other one is you go big and it's fast and it's tops. And you help transition people from the physical to the digital. Not necessarily one-to-one, a physical card and virtual card, but like one idea I told man was like, look, release, let's say 2028 tops. There's a snapshot. It's a physical picture of the card. And there's an equivalent NFT, but that's a moving image with just one snapshot gets captured in that card. But the moving image is in that NFT. And you limit that to a certain component. It's top certified, it's stamped, it's branded, it's on the blockchain. Then you transition the newer generation into a virtual example of what was a history since 1948.
My buddy got into that, and I'm like, dude, you're buying.
Yeah.
What are you buying?
You know,
It's like little movies.
I'm
I'm like,
Netflix.
yeah, I'm like, what?
So that's where I'm struggling. E-Tops came out in 2001, 2002. I was 22 at the time. I was one of those guys that bought 25 counts when the production run was 250. I made a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Cut to me at 46. I'm getting older, trying not to be closed-minded. I didn't look at NBA Top Shot, which is probably the most COVID era absurd NFT situation in the hobby. Didn't get involved, and I still struggle with it 5 years later. I'm struggling with the hook. You're talking about 20-year principles and coming back. Every time something new comes out that is associated with NFTs, I'm struggling with the hook. What you just said sounds awesome. A Topps card that comes to life.
incremental value. It has to have incremental value. Top Shots, I looked that closely. Okay, I see the game. I can go on YouTube, see the same thing. Right. Yeah. But this is something you need to transition and ride the wave of the.
It has an umbilical to a physical, tangible thing.
Yes.
Because
leverage the tradition, leverage the base of why
you got to shift the psychology
and shift it, riding the wave of the youth that are going.
I don't want to say it's an either or. Right. The phone evolved, right? People used to have Nokias and StarTACs or whatever we carried 20 years ago. So I don't see that it dwindles away. To go from 1% to 2.5% is astronomical. It really is. When you look at the amount of joules of energy it takes in order to produce that versus tangible assets. I work in a different sector. Finance. I don't even know if we do that. I don't know if we are a competitor in that space. And I live in my own side of it.
That's okay. Here's one. Topps challenge for the home runs. You do a wonderful set each year where you have to predict if a player hits a home run in the month of June.
Or MVPs or rookies.
Or MVPs or rookie. But I'm using the home run challenge because there's a scratch-off component. What if the scratch-off component also led to a virtual card? With one of the home runs the player has to hit. If you win that, you get the virtual card. Or if there's a double hit where you get the redemption card, but you also get the NFT.
Yeah. The problem is there wasn't a transition. It just went boom. There wasn't.
But that way, but what I'm saying,
it needs to take time to hold.
Well, what I'm
suggesting, it just can't flip this hard.
What I'm suggesting works on both levels. You have the transition, you're getting the real card, and then you're also inviting virtual world in. And I'm doing both.